Okay, Mr. President, we're back. So we're just across the street now from Dunsmuir and Richards. So we're just in front of the Holy Rosary Church, where my charter right to freedom of religion was violated on Tuesday, I believe it was. So I just came across the street. I went to a church near here this morning, as you know. I went to Christ Church Redeemer. I'm sorry, I got it mixed up. I'll remember it. I'm getting the two of them mixed up. What I'm focused on, though, is I want you to look at this picture here. And so we'll just take a walk now. I went down part of the street earlier, Mr. President, but I got the sense that I should now go down it with you for the first time, because there's a lot of bad poop going on in this neighborhood, and I want you to just see it. I mean, as you can see here, so we've got this, let's put this in perspective so far. We've got this hotel over here that was a student hotel that's now completely boarded up and vacant. We've got a church that's now restricting its hours of operation due to the violence and security risk in the area. And we had the massive graffiti down the street there. And now we've got this. So this is obviously an area where, you know, it's probably a lower income area to some extent. Let's just put it that way, given what we've seen so far. So we're now going to come down here. Oh, by the way, there was somebody sitting at that desk, at that table over there, who had their hands up, indicating that the Illuminati are sending me a message that I need to surrender. That's not going to happen. But, you know, the thing is, we got this guy again here. I don't know what he's supposed to represent, but I don't think it's any good. And so we're just gonna walk down here. Now, I got this far, Mr. President, but then, you know, I was standing here and I was having a cigarette, and I looked up here and I saw the Salvation Army logo. And then I kind of looked down here and I realized, okay, this is a lower area, and there's probably a lot of homeless people, and I've seen this in a lot of cities in Canada, including Toronto, where the homeless people were basically always targeted, and this happened in America too. And they were, the poor were probably very brutally traumatized by the experience of what was going on here during the Great Water Apocalypse, because we've seen signs of gassing, and I mean, I've seen so much of this, of these gas chambers and electrified fences and things like that, and cloning facilities, and excessive amounts of freezers. So we know that something was going down here that wasn't really all that good either. So far, it isn't as bad. I was expecting a much bigger disaster, because, believe me, I've seen them in this town. But I thought it would be kind of interesting to have you come along in the American government and see exactly what is going on here. Now, there's something that we do need to discuss, Mr. President, that directly involves you, because you're the president, and it involves the whole entire American government, because let's just spill it out right here. In the midst of all this violence, remember, I was drugged with the date rape drug and kidnapped and brought into this Nazi hellhole on June 14th, 2016. Now, the thing is that it's the Illuminati that is behind this. It's Canada's secret police. It's the three antichrists. But it's also, let's just be really blunt here, it's also I believe it's called the Skull and Bones Society out of Yale University. And of that group, we have the former President of the United States, George Bush, and we also have, I believe, former Massachusetts Senator John Kerry. I remember there are several things. John Kerry, his interview was videotaped the day asked about the 9/11 tragedy, and he said, no, it was a demolition that did it. And until he was forced to change his viewpoint by the Illuminati and state that he never said that, even though it's on recorded film. So where does this all bring us? This all brings us into a big mess, because, Mr. President, a Canadian citizen, an innocent Canadian citizen, is being held captive on Canadian soil and being starved to death and left to freeze outside on these very streets you see right here because of a group of dirty, filthy Europeans, but also, sir, because of the CIA and because of some of the richest and most powerful people in American society. So our ships, Mr. President, are intersecting far more than I ever anticipated they would, because right now in my life there are people in America that are attempting to murder me, and many of them are on the Skull and Bones Society, and many of them are prominent names, including Bush. So there is a serious situation. I demand my freedom immediately, and I demand reunification with my sister, Kelly Dobson, from whom I was forcibly estranged by the clone cops in Canada over 3 years ago. So given that this now involves the American government and senior people of great power in the United States that are clearly abusing it and attempting to murder me, I am demanding that immediate action be taken, because I refuse to be starved to death, and I refuse to sleep on concrete pavement because of the richest and most powerful people in the United States.